Hello, parents. It's Dr. Hefsitego coming to you from the Town Square Learning Centre in Basildon, Essex, where we love teaching and we teach our children to enjoy learning. Today, we're talking about supporting our children to transition between schools. So, in the UK, for children who have come to the end of their primary school education, everyone is changing schools as they go into secondary school to start year seven. It would also be applicable for anyone who may be changing schools mid-year. So, perhaps you passed your 13 plus and you're changing schools for year nine. You've moved towns and you're changing schools for whatever year group you may be going into, these tips will be applicable to you as well. Now, change for anyone, young or old, can be quite daunting, and different people react to change in different ways. Some people get quite excited with the new environment. Others are quite anxious with the thought of going into new environments, and some people remain indifferent. As parents, we know our children best, and so you know how best your child would deal with transitioning from one school to another. Let's look at some of the ways that we can help ease that transition period. So, first of all, have regular conversations about the new school that your child may be going into. So, just talk to your child about how they're feeling about the transition so that you have an idea as to where their heart is at and where their mind is at. And in some cases where children did not really get the school choice that they wanted, they may be feeling a little bit low and unmotivated about the change. And so through conversation, once you know how they're feeling, you can really try and uplift their mood, uplift their spirits, and find the positives with positives in the new school that they may be going to. Some children will be moving on with their friends from their primary school, but for most of them, it'll be a totally new environment with new faces, and they're going to have to start forming new relationships. Now, as teachers, we are aware of the different challenges that these new environments can bring to children. And so we do consciously try and ease in that first day with lots of various activities that can, I suppose, break the ice, right, for the children like, when they go into their various classes on the first day. So have conversation ahead of going into that new school. Second point is some children would be moving on from being taken into school by their parents and making their own way to school on the school bus as they're going into secondary school. Again, this can be a daunting period because leaving home, walking to the bus stop or to the train station to then make your own way to school can again be, an experience that comes with mixed feelings. Some children are more adventurous than others. Some parents are more protective than others. And so it's a difficult time, both for parents and children. And so you could do the journey together with your child before they actually start school. Do it a few times, and then they can set off on their own or with a sibling or with a friend. Of course, it must all be secondary school level, right? And see how they get on making their way to school and back. Also, once your child starts school, they're going to be expected to have a certain level of independence in terms of accessing their classes. Usually in primary school, they stay in the same class with the teacher, whereas once they go into secondary school, they're going to have to be moving around the different classes to go to that class teacher. So it's important, that the child is made aware of some of these changes and they start mentally preparing themselves for the reality of the changes that comes with secondary school. So I'm going to leave it here for this recording so I don't overrun with time. But basically, 3 things you can start doing today to prepare your child for the new transition. It's 1, have conversations about how they're feeling about the transition. 2, start preparing them for that journey if they're not going to be dropped off and picked up anymore, to do the journey together, get them to do it on their own. And then thirdly, get them prepared for the idea of the level of independence that they're going to be having to shift gears into doing, going to their own classes, be responsible for the stationaries, the inputs, etc., etc., etc. In the next recording, we're going to talk a bit more about easing the transition. Stay tuned.